Hello you and welcome back to Scandinavian Design 101. I'm Sanna.
I'm Andreas and we are two Swedes and we love design.
We do.
And we've already done several videos where we discussed the concept behind Scandinavian design in general terms. We explore what it actually is and why it has its distinctive appearance. And today we will once again dive into this topic, but from a somewhat different perspective. This video aims to explain why some of the most prominent Scandinavian design brands have recently updated their marketing strategies and why it is challenging to find information about the actual manufacturing location of their products. However, let's start by talking about chocolate.
Please do.
Yeah. Recently, the iconic chocolate bar Toblerone was forced to redesign its logo and packaging, and the reason was simple. For economic purposes, production was moved from Switzerland to Slovakia. Consequently, Swiss law forbid the use of the mountain Matterhorn in marketing this classic candy. In fact, for a product to be marketed as Swiss, it must contain at least 80% local ingredients. The same requirements apply to Swiss watches, beloved worldwide as an iconic product. A watch stamped Swiss-made, you have seen them on a lot of wristwatches, for example, must meet several important criteria, such as having a Swiss movement and being cased up in Switzerland. But why are we discussing this? Well, another well-known brand is Scandinavian Design, also referred to as, for example, Danish design, Swedish design, Nordic design, and similar expressions. But what do these expressions actually mean? What qualifies a product as a piece of Scandinavian design?
Throughout the last century, Scandinavian design gained an almost mythical status associated with a wide range of cultural and aesthetic values. Similar to Swiss watches and chocolate, the country of origin became an essential selling point. In the 1940s and 50s, most Scandinavian furniture shared several important characteristics. They were handmade, functional, and minimalistic. Above all, they were crafted from local, natural materials in local workshops. Scandinavian furniture soon gained popularity worldwide, partly due to several major exhibitions. One example is the traveling exhibition Design in Scandinavia, which toured North America in the mid-50s. Suddenly, Scandinavian design became about more than just aesthetics. It also promoted a lifestyle characterized by simplicity, democracy, and good taste.
Yeah. However, as Scandinavian furniture became popular in the United States, for example, American manufacturers started producing their own versions and sometimes even illegal reproductions, and they were all marketed as Scandinavian furniture, despite having no actual connection at all to Scandinavia. In response, most Scandinavian manufacturers began labeling their furniture as made in Denmark or Sweden or Norway. The Association of Danish Furniture Makers went a step further, introducing a quality seal for high-quality furniture produced in Denmark.
Traditionally, there were numerous manufacturers in the Scandinavian countries producing furniture, porcelain, glass, and various other design objects. However, things started to change in the 60s. One industrial company after another relocated production abroad to avoid minimum wages, environmental regulations, and other legislations. It's fair to say that the entire labor market in Scandinavia underwent significant transformations, and products labeled Made in Scandinavia were rapidly replaced by imports from low-wage countries. Nowadays, few manufacturers remain in Scandinavia, and some of the most renowned design companies have international owners, making them significantly less Scandinavian. Before diving further into this topic, let's provide a few famous examples.
Yeah, and first we must mention the high-end design company Georg Jensen, named after the Danish silversmith who founded the company in 1904. The company is well known for their exclusive jewelry, tableware, and not least exclusive silverware. In most recent years, the economic reality for high-end design companies has been rough. And in 2012, the Bahrain-based investment group Investcorp bought Georg Jensen for $140 million. In 2021, it was reported in the Danish newspaper Nordic that the Georg Jensen factory in Danish Hjørring was to be closed, and the production of the company's famous Christmas ornaments was moved to Thailand. And the factory in Thailand was already producing all the jewelry and cutlery for Georg Jensen.
Another example is the Finnish industrial group Fiskars, which bought several design brands in 2007, including Iittala, Arabia, and Rörstrand.
Yeah.
Since then, production of most products has been moved abroad to low-wage countries. One example is the famous Moomin mugs, which are nowadays produced in Thailand as well. Yeah. The same goes for porcelain by Rörstrand. This has been widely criticized, especially when it was revealed in the media that workers producing Rörstrand porcelain in Bangladesh earned less than 20 cents per hour.
Yeah, that's not a lot of money. And one of the most well-known examples in the furniture industry is probably Fritz Hansen, the official producer of furniture designed by renowned architects such as Paul Kärrholm and Arne Jacobsen. In 2012, it was announced that the production of all shell chairs by Jacobsen would be transferred to a factory in Poland. And easy chairs and sofas, including the iconic egg chair, for example, were already being produced in Poland. And the same applied for example, Kärrholm furniture. According to Fritz Hansen, the reason behind this decision was purely economic, of course.
These are just a few examples, and we could probably keep telling you about this all day, but we won't. No. However, what does this trend mean for the customers? First of all, the labels found on Scandinavian Design objects are slowly but surely being changed. The expression made in is being replaced by designed in.
But what does designed in Denmark or Sweden actually mean? Let's see what the law says. Design objects are always someone's intellectual property, which means that a piece of design exists independently of the process of its production. In other words, a piece of design can be seen as an idea rather than a physical object. Designed in Denmark should therefore mean that someone came up with the idea in Denmark. But is it really that simple? Well, obviously not. Let's say, for example, that an American designer travels to Denmark on vacation and suddenly comes up with an idea for a new chair. Later, she returns to the US and lets an American manufacturer produce the chair. Most people would probably not say that this product deserves to be labeled designed in Denmark. When searching for a more suitable definition, I found this in an article about Danish design. There is a Danish company or designer who owns the right to the design. Okay, this is a somewhat better definition, but what defines a Danish company? Georg Jensen, for example, is nowadays owned by a company with a headquarters in the Middle East. Does this mean that Georg Jensen products aren't Danish design? Well, obviously they are still. The conclusion must therefore be that designed in means literally nothing and doesn't say much about the product. Now that we know this, does it even matter where a piece of design is produced? And personally, I really think it does. We often visit local manufacturers and companies, and most of them struggle to keep up production. It is a good thing we have strong employment laws and environmental regulations and taxes, for example, but this makes it expensive and difficult for manufacturers who are determined to keep production local. A strong selling point for them is the fact that their products are being produced locally using traditional means of production. If competitors choose to move production to low-wage countries, this should be obvious for customers. However, the confusion over what the product designed in Sweden actually means makes local production a less important selling point.
The sad fact that fewer and fewer manufacturers remain in Scandinavia has a negative impact on the whole design industry. And here are some reasons why this is a problem. Traditionally, there has been a close collaboration between designers and manufacturers, which was the main reason for the huge design boom in the 50s and 60s. It's obviously almost impossible for a designer to have a close relationship with the manufacturer when it takes place on the other side of the globe.
Yeah.
Local production tends to attract new designers. Nowadays, only a few Swedish glassworks and furniture manufacturers remain in the country, and it's no wonder why few young Swedes are interested in becoming designers. Traditionally, Scandinavian products were made from local materials. Furniture was made from the domestic forest, and the porcelain was made from clay found close to those factories. This was actually one of the main reasons why the products looked the way they did. And when produced abroad, such things doesn't matter anymore. And the biggest problem is obviously the bad conditions in the factories that nowadays produce some of the best-known design objects. The workers producing restaurant porcelain in Bangladesh wouldn't be able to afford a single monomy plate even if they used up their whole salary.
No. And yeah, that was all for today. It was a somewhat grumpy video about Scandinavian design, but I do think this is an issue. What do you think? Do you agree with us? Please let us know in the comments below.
Yes, please do, and thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.